morning, November Foxtrot.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 205. I think it's 205. It's very exciting.
And I'm not shitting myself.
Congratulations.
Anymore. Whoop.
For those that don't know, Andy was doing that last week.
I had very bad food poisoning, which was lovely. I now know how the Apollo missions feel.
Yeah.
But yes.
They shit themselves a lot.
Oh, wouldn't you if you were strapped to a rocket?
Maybe. I don't think I'd want to be in space in zero G with diarrhea, though. That'd be a nightmare. Bit of belly rain going on. That'd be
belly rain, yeah.
Horrendous.
Yeah. Well,
right.
There you go. Brown rain, as Kenny says. Kenny Rebel, love it.
Hi, we are joined tonight by. Oh, let me start again.
Loads of
too busy to talk about brown rain. We're on episode 205. We're doing an Airsoft MilSim Q&A. Welcome to the November Foxtrot podcast. We are tonight joined by our live and virtual audience of Daniel, Carl, Phil, Marky Mark, Define Events. Hello, Kenny Rebel, Crosson Samurai. Hello. Pegasus, Andrew Taylor, Fat Pigeon, Kenny Rebel, James McNary. Hello. Welcome. I made a boo-boo before. Well, not really a boo-boo, but it was expected. So we discussed doing a Q&A today. We haven't done one in a little while. We might be joined by Lance. He's currently balls deep in a car, apparently, fixing it or doing something on the brakes.
Or doing something, yeah. Something manly and Lancey.
we debated doing a Q&A, and we said, yeah, that's fine, we'll do it. So Andy jumped on the socials and put a little post up there, and just on the way out of work, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to do like an anonymous thing? Maybe that will spice it up a little bit. Maybe we could do something a little bit different.
I haven't even know what.
Did you not? Right. So I found an app called NGL, which I think's like not gonna lie. I don't know. But I put a subsequent post up after Andy's, which basically has an anonymous link, so people can post questions to us completely anonymously, and that is what people have done. So on top of the more
you've met
sensible...
this lot. You've met this lot.
I know.
On multiple occasions, and we know that they're airsofters. That was a ballsy move.
I know. But it does give people the opportunity to ask us questions completely anonymously. So if you'd like to do that between now and the end of the show, depending on how this goes, we might do this again in future. Because it just makes it a little bit more interesting. But there is an awful lot of shit that's come through. So
yes, I can imagine.
Complete shit, then we probably won't do it again. For example, somebody just messaged us, we should go watch a movie.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I will pull those out. We've literally got, I don't know if you can see the screen. We've literally got loads of them that have come in on there.
Lovely.
They are all completely anonymous. So
we do have one proper one though.
We've got a couple proper ones, to be fair. But if you want to send us an anonymous question during the show, I've gone really bright all of a sudden. You can do so if you jump onto our Instagram. On our story, there's one of the stories, it talks about an anonymous link. So please feel free to go on there and have a go at that, and we shall see how that goes. Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to fix my camera while we're talking. In the meantime, Andy, have you got any news this week? I haven't really seen anything pop up.
Not really, other than Shifty Riffs was announced. The flyers are out. We're booked on, ready to go to have our stall. I know that there's a few others. I'm sure they won't mind me mentioning. If you do and you're listening, sorry. Empire.
Tough man.
Yeah, tough. I'm saying it. Empire's turning up. Define. You guys said that you were going to turn up. Mission Tailors is going to have a stand there. Boop, 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 boop. We're going to be there. Who else did we? Who else?
On the subject of us being there. So my plan at the moment is we like to have things that people can buy, just because it gives an opportunity to basically save on postage if you bump into us. So we're going to have some patches. No. And this, funnily enough, rolls on to another question that somebody sent in, which I'm definitely not selling our pants either. But
I mean, I would if people want my pants, but
we don't want to do that. No, so basically we're going to have the MilSim bandages available. I have Mother Fraser tasking away at the moment to make us another 30 of those. These might be a Mark II version. I found a filling foam that's a bit better. So these are. I've got to test it out basically. So I've got a slaving away on a sample first, and then we'll test test how that goes. But we're going to have some of those. I'm hoping if I can convince my good friend Paulus Wales that we might have some of the you can't see those, the universal bayonet mounts for sale.
The one that's camouflaged.
Yes,
that didn't work out.
No, well, we'll have them there. So that'll be a bit of a prototype, so they won't be hugely expensive. But we're hoping to have a couple of those, and we're going to have some stickers as giveaways, and possibly a new thing that I'm working on at the moment, which even Andy doesn't know about, because I haven't told Andy or Lance yet until I can kind of check that it's viable for us commercially.
What's
just something a little bit different. They already exist in the world, but I've possibly found a way of manufacturing them under our name, basically. So, Andy, I'll tell you after the show. But yeah. So if you want to come along, we might have some weird, wonderful things. We're hoping to have a competition as well. That'd be pretty cool.
Yep. And merch. We'll have some merch this year on the stand. We'll probably only have a couple of each size, if that. We might only have one of each size available on the day, but then you can pre-order them and we'll get them posted out and things to people. So, yeah, Shift Your Wrist this year is going to be blinding, and we're going to be set up with. I'm calling it NoFo Row. I don't think Tony or Hazel know about this yet, but I'm going to try and get all the cool kids together.
I'm slightly disappointed, Andy, that you didn't set NoFo up as like down the aisle.
Oh, I could.
Because that way we could have like a big banner across it, and it would be like, like a little Camden Market style thing.
Oh, you mean like Chinatown, but NoFo Town?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get
Chinatown.
Yeah.
I already get it.
Chinatown. NoFo Town.
Yeah.
Orange BBs. Love that. That's a cool idea.
We could do some signed BBs if you want.
Have you seen my handwriting? I can barely fit it on
tiny. It'll be tiny, so it'll be fine.
Other news. Defiant Rents Raid 2025 was launched on Monday. There we go. Get in on that.
Yeah. Terry G says, "Love NoFo, long time."
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to be coming. Defiant also said, "My aim for Shift Your Riffs is to get drunk and sunburnt."
Love it.
Cool.
I mean, we got sunburnt last year, didn't we?
That and very wet at the end of it.
Yeah.
Because of the rain. Our tent nearly blew away last time, so I've got some big counterweights for it this year.
Well, we'll be on. Yeah, I've got some big pegs.
Yeah,
just drive them into the ground.
Yeah.
No.
Anywho, yeah. So basically, to just say thank you, because all of the money that we are able to use for sorting the merch out and doing some of these new and wonderful things has basically come from, our audience, be it the people that have supported us through the Buy Me a Coffee, be it the people who have bought things from us before. All the money that we make basically gets rolled straight back into NoFo. So we are sorting the merch out. So say for the tier 3 Buy Me a Coffee subscribers, we're getting you your 2025 NoFo t-shirts. For the tier 2, we're still waiting to sort the patches out. I apologize. I need to get on that. Redundancy turns out to be a really fun thing at work. So we've been having to deal with that, unfortunately. But the patches will come as well with the sticker packs. So the sticker packs are a lot further along than the patches, but we will get those out to you, hopefully, ASAP. But we're on it. We are on it.
Some more than others.
Question. Should we do some questions?
Let's do some questions. Let's go for it.
Oh,
the only thing about putting them on the app is that you can't put them up on the screen for our visual.
No, true. True, but I mean, this is a podcast, so I mean, it's meant to be an audio thing anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
let's just hope that the closed captioning system of YouTube
What's
Allow you to read them.
audio impaired.
Yeah, audio described.
Yeah.
So if you want to ask any questions, then please feel free to do so. If you are joining us live, just throw a little cue at the beginning. It helps us find them going forward. Right, so we had some sensible ones. Should we do a sensible or a non-sensible one first?
Excuse
We
me.
can get the non-sensible ones out of the way.
Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's do a couple of. Let's get the non-sensible ones, and then do a couple of sensible ones, and then finish off somewhere with randomness.
Yeah. Okay. So the first question that we had was favorite artist ?
Artist, as in music artist, or
didn't clarify. Just said favorite artist. So I don't know.
I will say.
Pick one.
I know it's probably a bit cliche, but I quite enjoy Banksy's work.
Oh fuck! I was going to pick Banksy.
I mean, we can have the same. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Banksy. That's our favourite artist.
Yeah, there you go. The NoFo artist is Banksy.
Yeah,
I like the one where he cut up his own painting when someone won it. I thought that was hilarious, and then it tripled in price. I was like, fine, fair enough.
Yeah. I just think I like all the street art, but it is frustrating.
I like the street art.
People sell the walls that the street art is on.
Yeah.
But hey ho. So the next one we had was we should go watch a movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Hit us up.
As long as they're paying.
Yeah. I think this was from James. I'm not sure. Why can I not anonymously send images? This is unfair.
I mean,
I can't answer that. Okay. Right, we had a question. Would you guys think about selling your pants? And if so, can I buy mics, please? No.
Yes.
And why?
Because that money will not be going into the NoFo pot. If you want to buy a pair of my pants, then by all means, but I'm going to charge you 30 quid. And if they're worn just through disgustingness and you being a rotter, they're 50. So there you go. There's my prices.
Got to make money off the perverts, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, if you want MilSim worn underpants.
Oh no. Moving on.
Quid.
What's your preference? What's your preference, leather or PVC?
Leather.
From a purely aesthetic point of view, I like the material itself, not in terms of being a suit or anything like that. Just purely the material. I like leather. I do like a leather thing. Like leather book covers and like
I do like a bit of cow.
Yeah. Like it's something nice about leather. PVC shoes wouldn't be as nice as leather shoes, in my opinion.
I mean, it's going to upset a few people, but I do like the feel of a nice leather jacket.
Yeah. It could be vegan leather.
But then it's not leather.
There is such a thing, I believe. Well, I don't know. It's vegan leather, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, here was one. Mike, who's your favourite, Lance or Andy? And don't say cliche bullshit that you don't have a favourite. Everyone has a favourite. So, I already know Andy. The answer. You're that side. I work with Andy. So, Andy is my favourite work buddy. See where I'm going with this? And Lance is my favourite podcast buddy, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me because ultimately, I've known Lance longer. Yeah,
like years longer.
Yeah, there are times that he pisses me off, and there's times that I piss him off. You know, so
I piss everyone off.
It does sway
all the time. Constant. There's a constant level of annoyance with me. So,
so there you go. Andy, who's your favourite? And this isn't one of the questions from here, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Who's your favourite, me or Lance?
At the moment, you. But it changes. Like, where the fuck are you, Lance? Turn up, and then you might be my favourite.
Defiant says, it's okay, Andy, you're my favourite. I hope that makes you feel better.
James, you're my favourite. Or is it? No, it's James. That's James. I can tell that's James.
Were you going to say, is it Kevin?
Yeah.
If you don't know, Kevin and James both basically run Defiant. Yeah.
I'm confused now who it is.
That's like picking dads.
Yeah. I'm just going to say Defiant events are my favourite.
Oh, that's creepy. What's your most embarrassing airsoft fuck up? So when I saw this earlier, because I had a little flick through these before the show. When I saw this earlier, there's a few different ways you can answer this. So there's such as, you lob a grenade, it bounces off something, comes back and kills the whole group. That's kind of like an inadvertent fuck up. It's not really your fault per se. Obviously, you could be better at, doing airsoft. But ultimately, it's, it's happened. It's not inadvertent. Then there's fuck ups like you run into a room and kill everyone just because you're, completely inept because you haven't seen who it is. So, for example, I was hiding behind a bar at Blackstone CQB on the test day, and Andy ran in front of me, and I was a little bit blinded because my goggles fogged up. So I was just like, "Oh fuck it, I'll just shoot." I can see Andy in the back. So that's a fuck up.
Yeah, I think my one was it was a MilSim like quite a while ago when I first got into them, and I was TL, and I managed to get the map turned around and ended up assaulting our own fob instead of the enemy's fob. So I got my whole section all lined up, and then we were like, right, and then we pushed forward. We took 2 guys out, and they sat there and were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then we were like, "Oh, this is our own fob. Sorry." Medic them, and then we went back out. Yeah. That would have to be probably that was when I first started out. I think it was like my second ever MilSim, and they put me down as TL. I was like, well, that's on you, really.
Yeah. NAE or NAF, whatever we're going to call it.
Yeah.
National Airsoft Festival. You camp quite away from the game zone. So you're probably talking, depending on where you are in the game zone, you might be like almost like 45-minute walk away.
Especially if you're right up the back.
Yeah. So I was right up the back. I forgot to put a battery in my gun.
Oh no.
Got into the game zone, waited for the game to start. I was like, cool, tested the rifle. Rifle didn't work. I was like, oh, fuck. I had to walk back to my tent, get a battery, and then walk back again.
At that point, I would have gone, no, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, a shout out to my brother who came with me, and I don't know why he came with me, but yeah, basically looking after me.
Brotherly love. That's what that was.
Yeah. So that's probably the worst one. That's genuinely my fault, I would say. Right. Okay. So a couple more. Andy, if you had to share a bivvy bag with someone for the purpose of survival, who would you pick?
What? Anyone? Just anyone in general?
It just says if you had to share a bivvy bag with someone. Hi, Chris.
Who's the one that plays Wonder Woman? She's got a really funny name, isn't she?
I'm really bad with popular culture, so this is a terrible idea to ask me.
Yeah, the one that played Wonder Woman. I mean, that
the new Wonder Woman or the old Wonder Woman?
No, the new Wonder Woman. Who played Wonder Woman? Google.
That was Gal Gadot.
Yeah, told you it's a weird name. Yeah. Her.
Cool.
I feel like she has a lot of body warmth.
There's another one we had come in. I love seeing you happy.
No, hang on. Who was yours be?
Oh, who was mine?
But I mean, if my wife is watching or watches,
I mean, to be fair, it said for the purpose of survival. So I mean, for the purpose of survival, I'm going to want someone that genuinely kicks out an awful lot of heat. Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you? Because if they kick out too much heat, you're going to get sweaty in a bivvy bag.
Yeah. I mean, Bear Grylls could probably be quite a good choice.
Yeah. Oh, I'd go Ray Mears.
Ray Mears.
Because Ray Mears is more my shape of guy. without being insulting. And to me, you want to trust a survivalist who looks more like me rather than a survivalist who looks like Bear Grylls.
True.
That's fair. And Bear Grylls seems to. I'm pretty certain that Bear Grylls goes into the forest for like 3 days and then immediately starts drinking his own piss, even though there's water available.
Yeah.
Like, this is a rumor I've heard. So
I don't even think he goes into the forest anymore. I just think he does it. I just think, nope, this is life now for me.
Yeah. Right. So before the adoption of Step 1 panties, how much raw chafing did you experience?
Quite a lot. Until I discovered bicycle shorts. And then bicycle shorts helped. And then I gradually increased up to the legendary Step 1.
Just full leggings now.
Yeah. I mean, it was either the choice of putting down the fork or just buying different pants. So I went with buying different pants.
Fat Pigeon, by the way, says go for that. Go for Dora. That girl has everything in her bag. You can't pick Dora the Explorer legally. That would be horrendous.
I mean, maybe as a 18-year-old Dora Explorer.
No, it's still weird. Don't do it. Run away. Abort. So, regarding the chafing, for me, pre-Step 1s, my kind of go-to post Airsoft event routine would be get in the shower and then pretty much kind of get everything, like whole body nice and clean, and then pretty much douse with Germaline, which is both an antiseptic and an anesthetic. So after about 30 seconds to a minute of complete and utter stinging pain, it starts to numb everything, and it just kind of clears everything up quite quickly. I find Step 1s aren't actually currently my go-to. So I do use Step 1s a lot, but I still sometimes find that I get a bit of chafing, and I don't know if it's because my personal body shape, maybe it just it pulls everything in tighter. So I now start getting chafing in different places. So it's no longer in the thigh region. The chafing is now on sort of the rear buttock region. So it's something I struggle with. And also, to be fair, the Step 1s, and I've said this before, I'm pretty certain the fabric of the Step 1s grips the fabric of so I wear SFU Next trousers from Helicantex. And I'm pretty certain that the two fabrics have a higher friction when they kind of slide against each other. To the point of, I've had a couple of times where I've kind of squatted down and I'm having to kind of pull extra fabric back up to readjust to get enough fabric to kind of move about. If that makes sense.
Interesting.
They're big enough trousers, and I'm not running around in like super tight clothing or anything like that. But it just there's a couple of times where I'm pretty certain there's a fabric issue there where it's friction.
Interesting.
Defiance says, here's one for the brave. If you have chafing, use Tiger Balm. Hurts like fuck initially, but then it works wonders. Yeah.
I got Tiger Balm in my eye once. Like, literally, I did that, was rubbing it on my shoulder blade, and then I got an itchy eye. And literally, while it was still in my hand, I just went like that. I was like, that was a mistake.
Yeah. I don't have
don't
words
put
for
it
that.
in your eye. Don't put it in your eye.
Marky Mark, Tiger Balm is the bollocks for a lot of things, but I think the follow-up is that, but not for the bollocks.
Yeah.
So, cool. Right. Okay. So chafing. Given that we all want to, so here's an actual serious one. Given that we all want to be sneaky and wear camo, etc., how can we convince organisers to stop using bright bloody tape, i.e. yellow and blue, to segregate teams? Bloody hate turning up to an event for lights versus darks or multicam versus non-cam and still having to give myself away with a bright yellow band.
I mean, if you've got team camos already preset for an event, then personally, I don't think you need the armbands. That's just poor organisation. But as we've all seen, bands are used in modern conflicts to dictate friend or foe, and that band is to stand out so you don't get shot by your own team. So I can understand it. Personally, I think in a skirmish sort of environment, you need to have that clear distinction. But in a MilSim, if you've got set and quite different colours, then you don't really need the bands. Like, it's like going up and saying it's like shirts and no shirts in football, and then still giving them an armband. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's just a bit.
I mean, I think that's
With a
probably more
skirmish,
visual, but I would target the question along the lines of, so how many times have we been to a skirmish event where teams are armbanded, both arms, and you still get blue on blue?
Yeah, because a lot of
people
players
don't PID their targets.
Exactly.
That's the thing. So,
but that's
it is hard.
You can't stop people from not doing it properly. Like, Blackstone's the worst, because you walk around the corner and people panic, and then you just get lit up, and it's like, really?
See, my personal preference would be to not even have team camo patterns, because again, sort of real world scenarios, the camo patterns could be quite similar. They could be the same camo pattern. They could be mix and match. Like, relying purely on the visual identification of a target, and it is a challenge. You know, it obviously makes your game a little bit harder, but it would also it's the same argument. I do highway engineering, so there's the same argument of people moan that they, you know, you've surely seen these streets where they've taken out all the road markings. They've got flush paving everywhere. It's you know, all the same road surface. It's all block or something like that. There's no signs, no railings or anything like that. And the concept is that you take all that away, you strip all of the stuff that's telling you, you know, what to do and what not to do out of that scenario, and it slows you down, it makes you think more, and it forces you to be more aware of what's going on. And I personally think that it was almost the same argument for removing the camo patterns. If you, I think if you take that away from people, I think it forces them to use things like, you know, call and answer challenges. It forces you to know what teams are in what locations. You know, coordination between groups becomes much more important. The problem is you can't rely on airsofters to do that.
No, especially in a skirmish situation.
Yeah, well, skirmishes are a little bit different. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
we're a MilSim podcast.
I mean, we're an airsoft podcast, didn't we?
It's an airsoft podcast, but I don't know. I like the concept of not having to identify. I want to be, you know, team fluid.
Or just gelatinous blobs.
Yeah.
No, I really like the games where it's there's no sort of armbands or anything at all, and you are very much reliant on PRD in your targets. Like, I think some of the good ones are camos versus planes, but you're allowed to wear whatever plate carrier you want, so it slows you down a little bit, because you're like looking at the trousers, looking at the top. You're not looking at the overall person. You're trying to pick out who they are, and it like in a MilSim situation, it does make it more enjoyable. Yeah, battle space awareness.
I see Bada Bing is back in the game.
Who?
I don't know what you're talking about, Chris. Yeah, battle space awareness. Defiant Events says we have never used bands, etc., but we will do a bulk because the uniform colours are potentially similar and it fits the theme for IFF and deconfliction. I mean, it is important because ultimately it's a game, and it is a bit fucking frustrating when you've got some twat that just genuinely can't be bothered to wait a split second to work out if the person in their trigger, like their crosshairs, is basically on friend or foe. But you know, and Terry says, you know, you could use something like the Paras DZ flashes. So that's the, you know, you effectively get the little squares of different things on your shoulders. I mean, that's a different way of doing it. But again, it's the visualization of that. You know, ghillie suits and things. It's not always the clearest thing to see a patch under all that. So I don't know.
But then again, like Call Sign Samurai,
take it all away and make people struggle.
Yeah, but like Call Sign Samurai said, like battle space awareness, like be aware of what other units are out on the field, what other taskings are going on. If you know that you're pushing into like a woodland or hedgerow or like a crossroads or something, you should know if there's other sections involved in that push. You should know their locations. So if you come across someone, you're making sure that they're not. The first one is that they're not hostile at the end of the day, because they could be Civ Pop, they could be a different faction that isn't the main, like the big bad. Like, you don't know. So it's taking that time as well to sort things out. Whereas obviously if you've got an armband, you can see the armband from a mile away and you can just start lighting things up.
Good evening, Landnav. Welcome in.
Evening.
Mark coming from a highways background, the average motorist struggles with the most basic of road info. How are airsoft's meant to cope with it? Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, you obviously still get idiots who can't drive as well. But the concept of but the concept of taking it all away and making people think, it's kind of forcing them to go down that route. And if they keep lighting up their own team, there's going to be some strong words from certain people at a certain point. I think it just, do better.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but
it's a skill issue.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So would you rather be chronically underdressed or overdressed for a MilSim?
I don't understand.
I don't know what that means.
Chronically
overdressed or chronically chronically underdressed or overdressed for a MilSim. I think that means, I guess, going down the route of not having everything that you need or having everything you need plus. Perhaps.
I mean, I'd rather have everything plus.
Yeah. Okay, let's go down the route of being cold or being hot.
I'd rather be hot.
I'd rather be hot, because at least you can take layers off and you can just whack them in a day sack.
And you can drink more.
There's nothing worse than being cold and wet, for example, and you haven't got the right bits of kit.
Yeah, I'd rather have too much stuff and be able to lose it than not having enough and needing it.
Chris says it's not fun being cold. It's not, Chris. We know. Terry G, overdressed because you can always remove layers.
Yeah.
And then Marky Mark, I think that means going with trousers or without. Okay, cool. This is not a question. It says November Foxtrot is genuinely the best podcast for Airsoft. I'm surprised you don't have a bigger audience. Thank you. Right. Okay. You can afford night vision in just a few easy steps. Step 1 is to not tell your wife you financed night vision.
Yeah.
Now, I've never thought about financing it before, in all honesty.
You can do it on Klarna. If you went through, there's a couple of them now where you can order from the shop and you can put it through Klarna.
Yeah, I genuinely never considered that. That might change things in the next 12 hours.
This is when he comes back with quads and he's like, look what I bought.
What's the worst event you have ever attended? Right, I'll go first on this one because this I can name it. The worst event I've ever attended was the Cleethorpes event. I don't think there was a second one. I think it was only the first one. Cleethorpes event run by AI 500 up near Grimsby. So, and funnily enough, this wasn't 100% to do with AI 500. It didn't help. There were some things that were mismanaged, in my opinion, and I do think in this particular instance there were some things that were outside of their control, which they wouldn't have had a fucking hope in hell of trying to fix, but they were trying to do the best that they could. But the challenge, I think, with AI 500 is that they do sometimes struggle to think on the fly. I don't think that's unfair. I think that's, a very observed opinion. So, for example, there was an issue with leaving the game zone in combat gear because they didn't want the local public to have a problem with the fact that they were running an airsoft event at this abandoned theme park, which was right in the middle of fucking Cleethorpes. I think it was Cleethorpes, something like that. So you've got an awful lot of people that are staying off site because the accommodation on site was tight and constrained, and there's an awful lot of like travel lodges and stuff nearby who didn't bring spare clothes. So then they've just got people shouting at players trying to leave, saying that, you can't leave wearing that, you can't leave wearing that, etc. Did you not read the rules, etc.? Which is all stuff that was kind of adapted very last minute. So that's kind of from that side of things. But there were other really bad things with that event. The thing that really fucks me off with any event is when teams don't work together. So the concept of an AI 500 is very much force on force. The medic rule was that basically you could medic any other member of your team. And bear in mind, the teams are sitting on maybe like 200-300 players, if for those that have played an AI 500 game before. So you'd be sitting there hit out, because some battlefield general has decided to make you push forward. So you've all pushed forward. Sweeping swathes of people have been hit out. And then more players are just coming in from behind in their little super MilSim clicks and just fucking ignored everyone. And that really, really fucking grinds my gears because, like, you're there as a group of players. If you've got players bleeding out, medic them back in because your force will immediately be stronger. Just a sheer number of bodies, constantly pushing is going to make a big difference. And it's a 10-second reshin. We're not talking like you've got to sit there for 2 minutes with them, giving them tender love and care. So yeah, I have said this before. I'm not the biggest fan of AI 500 events. I know there's not a love for them on various chat groups and stuff that I've seen, but I do like some of the unique locations that they get. Having the chance to play at an abandoned theme park was interesting. I wouldn't say it was the greatest. The Citadel was quite good. I actually went back and did that twice with them. So
yeah, I've got to admit, I'm not a fan of AI 500. I've given up now. My last one was the shopping centre, or the department store. It was just poorly run, no safe. Like, it wasn't safe. Probably did the first couple of hours. That was probably the worst event that I've done. No marshals to be seen. Just trying to stay out of the firefight and hiding. Didn't fill me with a great deal of confidence of if someone did fall down the escalators or through an open elevator that was there. I would say mine would be the department store.
Yeah, I mean, Defiance is bad mouthing event organisers now. So we said we would answer anonymous questions. If people are going to ask questions, I will tell people my thoughts. Ultimately, I'm not going to sit and I'm not in this world to placate people unnecessarily. The whole point of the November Foxtrot podcast is to give open and honest reviews. And you ask the question, I'll give you the honest answer. We won't ever sit here and just slag people off for the sake of it. And
unless
it will always be
unless it's you.
But it would always be founded on some basis. We're not going to. It's not just going to make an opinion. I mean, like, for example, I think this is quite a good example. We've talked about potentially getting Kiki Mustang on the show. It's been a bit of a challenge for us because I know that he's a very Marmite player, but we thought it would be interesting to have him on and talk to them open and honestly. But it's a difficult one for us to deal with. So, it's for the time up until episode 205, we haven't had him on because we don't want to go down the route of clickbaiting, basically.
Yeah,
that's not what we're about. If we want to have people on because we want to genuinely talk to them, and it's not down to just make people upset or cause friction for the sake of it. But we will try and avoid friction if we can unnecessarily because they're not constructive. We were trying to build a positive community. But there we go. AI 500s. There's a few little extra reviews in here. These are nothing to do with us. These are other players that have said, fresh meat, I've got your money. That was some words that were used at the Citadel. I've got your money.
Yeah.
I don't care if I tell you to leave now, basically. Jake Stanswood, agree, was also at that event, AI 500 event. This was Cleethorpes. It was just Choke Point City.
Right, yeah.
Completely agree. Marky Mark says, Marky Mark, it was a shit theme park when it was open. Yeah. And then Defiant, why do AI 500 when you could do Raid? Exactly. Raid is better run, in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate that, AI 500, they do some good things. They do get decent sites. But the problem is that I think the thing that frustrates me the most is whenever people kick off that it was shit or there's a problem or something like that.
Yeah.
They kind of go to this default of, well, it's a site that we've never played at before. It's, we have to adapt it as we go.
But then we're
learning. But that's
you
your
should have the experience. That's your experience.
What you do.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't expect like Defiant have run events at sites that they've only been and visited once or twice, maybe at most. Rift have done Tony Whitmarsh, he's run events at sites that he's never been at before. The whole point of it is that you pull from your experience that you've had at other sites. It might be a different site, but if you know that there's a choke point there, you can see a choke point from a million miles away. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out how the map's going to play visually. Obviously there are things that might change out on the land, but as an event organizer, you should be able to make changes on the fly. Like,
having said this, yeah, I agree. And to be fair to AI 500, they do, right? Because I've visibly seen Lance hiding behind a barricade that two marshals have then come up and picked up and walked off with. At the Citadel. He's literally crossing open ground. He's made it to this barricade. Two marshals genuinely walked in, picked the barricade up that he was hiding behind and just walked off with it.
Yeah, but to me, that's poor marshalling. Like someone's made the effort to get there. It's like player marshals that or game marshals that have weapons and they shoot a player and that player stands up calling it a hit thinking it's a player, but then the marshals turned around and said no, I was just testing to see if you call your hits. But then you're like
you've opened a can of worms with this, Andy.
Yeah, I know, right? But that moving a barricade while someone's behind it is just as bad, in my opinion. Like that's like if they've got a massive advantage, then like you do something. You don't make the barricade just randomly disappear. Like that's poor management of a site, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like if a player's made that hard a push to push up across the land, and he's somewhere that they've got an advantage. Okay, so you either tell the player we're going to move this barricade in 5 minutes or 2 minutes. You've got to move. You don't just pick it up while someone's hiding behind it. That's just horrendous.
Right. I'd forgotten about this, but this was genuinely one of the reasons that I pretty much left the AI. I didn't leave the site because you couldn't, because the exit was running through the game zone at the time. But the second time that we played the Citadel with AI 500, I got shot at by a marshal.
Mm-hmm.
Now the marshal was effectively using a DMR at range, so there was no way that they were just checking for hits. And if they were, so I shot back, right? Because I'm taking rounds from marshal. I shot back, and the marshal clocked me. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I had another marshal come and tell me, why are you shooting the marshals? I was like, well, because the marshal shot me, mate. Like, to me, if someone is now engaging me in a, so I don't give a shit if they're wearing a high vis. Why are they shooting me? Like the whole concept of checking players taking their hits with a marshal shooting them is fucking mental to me.
Yeah, I think it should be banned.
We've
upset him.
Hit a sore spot on that one, Andy, because I got so fucked off with that.
But I agree.
And I'm angry again now. What have you done to me?
I think it's shit marshalling. If you need to shoot players to see if they're cheating, then your marshalling technique is wrong. Fundamentally wrong.
Right. what we've always said, if you've got a problem with an event, you go and tell the organisers,
Yep.
right? So I immediately, right, I'm fucked off with this situation. I'm not going to go and talk to the twat that's standing on a hill out of bounds as well, shooting at me. Like, right, I'm not having that. So I went and found a different marshal. It took a couple of minutes to calm down before I talked to him. And I was like, look, just to let you know, I'm a little bit confused because I've just been engaged by the marshal and then been told that I can't shoot him because he's a marshal. And then I've been told that potentially I was cheating and that they were hit checking me. I was like, well, first off, I was nowhere near the enemy. Second off, I haven't seen the marshal for the last 20 minutes, so I don't know why you're hit checking me. Unless, you've got, some documentation that I've been cheating around the rest of it. And I like to think I'm a fairly honest player. Like, I mean, I generally take hits, even if I think they're rebounds or stuff like that, for the most part, because ultimately it's a game. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to be a dick about it. But then I went and spoke to them, and then they just got the arse of me. They were like, well, if you don't want to play, don't fucking play. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. It's that attitude.
That was it. That was the rest for me. I couldn't deal with it anymore, and I was just keen to leave.
I've literally gone to a site and I've set myself up. I've played, I've paid my money, sat there. During the safety briefing, he's gone, my marshals are armed and they will be doing test shots. I literally packed my stuff up and I said, I'm off. I said, I'm not playing a site where you automatically think all your players are cheaters.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to. Like, fair enough, Marshall, but
this
Sim.
has turned into a real moan fest.
Yeah.
We'll move on in a second. We'll come back to some more. Andy's fault. I started talking about my marshals. Genuinely wound me up.
But you understand it when you have DS. Defiant do it really well, and I'm not saying this because I know they're on the chat. But Defiant have their DS roles really well managed, I think, because they're active players and they're only DS unless they see something, and I think that works really well with the whole MilSim environment and the whole structured gameplay. And I think that should be it. Or you tend to get less cheats at MilSim anyway. In my opinion,
to be honest with you, with a MilSim, and I think that exactly this, the MilSim community is a community, right? For the most part, if you go to a MilSim in Kent, or let's say Kent, if you go to a MilSim in the UK, you are very likely to see other people that you have MilSimmed with before, or that you will MilSim with again. So if you've got players that are regularly attending these things, they are effectively acting as self-marshals anyway, because whilst the event is not necessarily organised them, a lot of MilSim players want to play the game fairly. It's not a run and gun. We're all generally we're too tired at a certain point. If you're running around for 38 hours or whatever like that, you just want to have a fair game.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to get hit so you can just sit down for 5 minutes.
Yeah. But sometimes there is an active suicide mode where you just go, I just want to go back and have something to eat now. I've been out on the land for 15 hours. I want some dinner.
But you get trusted players and stuff like that. And I think that's important because I think people and teams do self-regulate a little bit. Now, that's not to say that you don't need a DS team or a group of marshals or anything like that. And ultimately, that's not to say people won't take advantage of that. But I think for the most part, if you've got a group of players regularly play together, they are going to want to keep a positive image because ultimately event organizers were like, well, you can't fucking come next time. So I think it upsets the apple cart on that front. So yeah, but when you've got a mark, I think as well. Sorry, there was something that Fresh Meat threw in there because Fresh Meat was with me at this event. Marshall's playing on a side with martial armor on. That was the other thing. I think that was probably what was happening. Is it wasn't just a hit check exercise which was thrown out there initially. I think what was happening is because the two sides, the numbers had started to drop, and I think one side was basically at this point just overwhelming the other team and putting them in their fob. It now meant that you've got marshals who are out of game shooting players with a clear line of sight from effectively God mode, which is just completely wrong. If your event has got to a point where you're having to use marshals in that capacity and that they can't be fired back upon, fucking change the event. Like, it is not going well. Deal with it. That's not the answer. Right, let's move on. Mr. Aggravation. Just watch the player if people are moaning about no calling. Exactly. Right. James says, what do you think of 2 random chrono checks during games instead of chronoing every riff and not just HPA, DMR, and snipers before game on?
I agree with it. And this is coming from a martial background. I think having the random chronos, and it doesn't take long, because the way I personally do it is I will go and stand by spawn, and when a player comes back and respawns, so I'm not ruining their game, I will chronograph them then. And it's just to make sure that, especially during the summer where it might start off cool, you grab a couple of gas weapons and you just say, look, just checking to make sure that the gas, like the heat, hasn't like popped you up or anything. All weapons, as far as I'm concerned, should be chronographed before they go out on the field. And then just a random chrono. You grab 4 or 5 players, just to make sure that nothing's been tampered with. So you grab a couple of HPA, you grab a couple of DMRs, a couple of snipers, and a couple of gas. And you just make sure that everything's working, and then you just wander back out. But you do it at a time that doesn't affect the gameplay, and that would be my opinion. And I think if you were doing, I think if you do it out in the middle of a firefight, then it's your own stupid fault if people start moaning.
Right, in a second, I'm going to remove the barricade, but before I do, I need to stop, stand up, and chrono.
I think it's a good safety measure, and it doesn't hurt anyone, and it doesn't affect any sort of gameplay. If you do it back at, especially on, like, say for an example, if it's during a MilSim or a battle sim, do it back at the FOB. It's not a problem. It takes 2 seconds and 3 shots. Right, that it doesn't really, like, how much is that? Snipers, yeah, fair enough when it's like £2 a shot. But yeah, you don't know what the weather's doing to your weapon. Gas blowbacks, we all know that they're the worst for it during the summer and winter and things. It might start off really cold, and then in the summer.
What was the event? And I'm worried that this is going to be the same company. Wasn't there an event company that suggested that they didn't need to chrono? This was NAF.
Yeah, this was NAF,
year, wasn't it? And it suggests that if you'd been to NAF in the week or 2 before, you didn't need to chrono if you went to NAF, which got absolutely lambasted. Oh, jeez. I don't know. I mean, we go back to talk about trusted players, but I think there are certain things that you just do as a default. Don't.
And to be honest, most companies' insurance actually says that you need to be chronographed before going onto a field.
Well, forget the insurance, there's the law as well. You know, ultimately, RIFs have to adhere to certain regulations before they become a firearm. So as soon as you go over that, you are effectively committing a crime. And if, you know, I'm not saying that everyone's going to do this, but if some particular knobhead decided to take you to prosecution levels, there is a genuine risk that is a firearm in that capacity. Well,
technically, you would be done if you had an overpowered weapon and you knew it was overpowered, and you shot someone and caused some damage. That is a police incident, and you would be arrested. I'm talking from a rift point of view. If you literally purposely went out and caused someone physical damage.
Point of view. If you're a decent event, like, ultimately, if there's a problem like that, it needs to be dealt with. James says, Site player chronos, just chronos, DMR, HPA, and sniper. I'm glad they do at least do checking in game.
Yeah,
that's check everything to start with. It's easy peasy. And then I get that obviously people can change stuff. And I mean, there is another aspect as well that chronos need to be accurate and correct. because the number of sites I've played at previously that they just measure everything at 0.2 grams. You're like, well,
Yeah,
I've
that
got
doesn't
something
work.
heavier in here. No, don't worry about it. That's not how you chronomate. So, right, we had a serious question come in on Instagram before the show. This one was relating to. It was relating to.
Have you got it?
Blowback. Yep, I'm getting there. TJ Pool, P-A-P-U-H-L on Instagram.
Pool, I think.
Hi guys, love your show. Listen.
Sorry if we butchered your surname.
Sorry, completely. Thank you for watching.
Hi
guys, love your show. Listen to every episode so far. Question for you, either for a Q&A or just to answer here. I'm thinking about getting into the GBBR world. I'm sorry, just lining something up.
Good man.
I'm thinking about getting into the GBBR world, and I'm looking for recommendations. I know that you guys love the MWS system. Beep, 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 MWS, beep, 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 beep. But what specific guns do you have? I live in the US. Andy, as you are surrounded by a plethora of various rifles, one of which is now mine. It's very exciting.
One of it is yours. So at the moment, is it LCT? They make a really good gas blowback AK. Obviously, you've got the TM, AKM, and AKX. They're both very good weapons for gas blowback if you're looking for an AK side of things. They would be probably my main two. GHK, if you can get one that was pre-2007, I think it was pre-2007, then you're laughing with the real wood. That's a good system as well. Anything after 2007, it's pot luck, and if you get a wrong one, then you end up spending a lot of money getting it right. For M4 styles, personally, for me, it can only really be TM from my personal experience. The others that I've used in the past haven't been as joyful, if that is a word that I can use. They haven't been as fun to use. They're very simple to upgrade. Like literally, it takes 30 seconds to literally just take it all apart. So yeah, it would be a TM MWS would be my probably primary. There'll be personal people. There'll be other people online that will say don't get one. But it's all down to personal preference at the end of the day.
Well, there's a price point in MWSs. That is fundamentally probably one of the bigger challenges with them, which is, you know, once you've got the rifle, the magazines in the UK, you're looking at maybe £60 a magazine, which as a 30-round mag, you know, if you're transitioning from 46. An AEG for the first time to an MWS, it's like, oh,
yeah, you know, and that's a massive. That's the biggest learning curve, going from which a lot now are like 460 rounds in a standard mag, and you never have to reload for the rest of the day, going down to 46 rounds in a mag. I think it's 46, or is it like it's a 30. Weird number? No, it's more than 30. No, it's more than 30. I'm sure.
You can tell how long I've had mine.
Yeah,
35 rounds in a MWS magazine.
Oh, right. I always thought it was 40 something. Anyway, that proves how much I know. I think because I run the PMags. The PMags getting a couple of extra rounds in.
You want me to check?
Whereas the TM mags, I think, are a little bit lower.
35.
But yeah, but going from a massive magazine down to something that's, you do kind of panic when you need to reload. You're like, oh shit, I should be able to shoot for a lot longer than this. No, you cannot.
Yeah. So for me, my gas blowback experience has been relatively limited, just because I got into it and then I was like, I don't really enjoy this quite as much. So I happen to have a WE gas blowback MP5K, which I purely bought and used just for the aesthetics. I really love an MP5. I own a MP9, which is, I think I talked about this on the show a week or two ago. The ASG MP9. So you have to be careful with the bolt systems. You can get like a downgrade CQB bolt, depending on the dual limits and everything like that of wherever you are. But I really rate that. I really love the MP9. It's perfect for CQB. The only other one I've ever really had was a HK 416 from WE, which I just didn't get on with. Like it was clunky to use. It just didn't sit well with me for some reason. I didn't really enjoy it, and that might be because at the time, I mean, this was Jesus, this must have been like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. This was proper at the start when I was starting to get into airsoft, which I only really attended skirmish days. So rocking around with a 30 round mag at a skirmish day, you know, is pointless. To be perfectly
Pretty
fair,
much, yeah.
You are up against people with AEG box mags and everything like that, and it's just, yeah, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's that proper like clack clack noise and all of that, but like, oh geez, like the amount of times you just get hit out and stuff. It's just
the only other good one, which I would really recommend, and I regret selling mine, and if I stop buying AKs for a moment, I might buy another one. Would be the TM MP7. Now I know there's a lot of fans for that out there. Yeah. You can use it outdoors. You can use it for CQB. You can HPA it like that. It's like probably one of the easiest weapons to HPA if you wanted to go down that route. I mean, it's just a pistol on steroids. It's fucking awesome. It is real good fun. The only other one,
the Vorsk. The Vorsk, is it MP9?
Hate Vorsk with a passion. Vorsk and Raven. Vorsk and Raven can burn in the pits of hell, in my personal opinion. I know a few guys that have bought Raven pistols and they've all been shite. The Vorsk ones feel like, and I'm sorry if you buy one and you like one, but this is obviously a personal opinion. But
touch the nerve.
the Vorsk pistols just look like something out of a kid's store. Yeah. Like, if you're going to buy a Vorsk, just spend the extra 50, 60 quid and just buy a high capper and build what you want. Like,
what about the MP9 though? It's not. Is it called MP9? The VMP1. It basically looks like an MP9. VMP1.
Yeah. No, because it's weird. It looks weird. It looks like a weird MP9.
But it's a pistol, basically.
Yeah. I just don't like anything that they make. And Raven are just saying
hashtag not a sponsor.
I mean, like genuinely, if Force turned around and said, we'll sponsor the show, we'll give you like enough money to keep it running for 4 years absolutely free, and we'll give you a free pistol.
Unfortunately,
I'd be like,
I would still say no.
I'll be like, no.
It was set up.
But, no. But even if they said you don't have to promote us, I'd be like, no. I ain't.
Mags are interchangeable for the MP9. So, fresh meat. Oh, that was from Land of Champions. Sorry. Fresh meat. Yes, MP7 is my go-to. Outranges a lot of other users, or a lot of others. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, one of the lads.
Samurai. Love the VFC KAC M.
Yeah, VFC. They're a good brand.
The VFC KAC M110.
The one thing that I did like someone did with the MP7 was they've got two MP7s, and one is kept with the shorter barrel, but then the real long suppressors that you can get for MP7s, he's basically put a longer barrel in that and runs around with that in the woodland, and mate, that thing outperforms most weapons on the field. Like, the MP7 is a good laugh, and it's a good little base as well. Personally, I don't like having 100 different mags, which is why I've gone for the Rattler, the Toxicant Rattler, which is basically an MWS internal.
Well, it's exactly. I mean, it's effectively an M4 platform CQB, isn't it? So.
But that's another good brand, Toxicant. like that's a good way to go if you're looking at that. The internals are, some of them are now becoming a little bit more. I think on the latest one, it's very proprietary. Some of the things, but Toxicant are a good brand. I've never had an issue with mine. Yeah, that's kind of it, really. But definitely go gas blowback. It'll make you feel like a man.
or a lady.
Or a lady, depending on what you want to be.
Yeah. What I will say as well to anyone that's interested in gas blowbacks, there is a cracking MWS and GBB discussion group that is run by Defiant Events. So if you are interested,
yes, that's very good.
I don't know how to plug this out, but get in touch and I'll add you or whatever. We can sort that out for you. The other option is get in touch with Defiant Events and they'll add you. So yeah, basically it's a good community group there. Right, so that's the end of the serious questions. Should we go back on to? So I say the end of the serious questions. That's the end of the kind of the ones that we had submitted earlier. We had one coming. Do you guys actually know anything about teching rifles?
No.
I don't either.
No, I say that now.
No, you do a little bit. You know more than me.
So yeah, so gas blowbacks. I've learned, like Pegasus taught me a lot. Pegasus knows quite a bit about teching. He's taught me a lot of stuff. And with the gas blowbacks, it's simple. Like it's a bolt carrier, a couple of springs, and a trigger housing. Basically,
it's mechanical, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's very mechanical. If you got me to strip this, the M249 or the PKM, nah, ain't happening. Not in a million years. I will pay someone to do that. I am a hammer guy. I'm not a tweezer guy. Right, let's put it that way. Right. Yeah, gas blowbacks. Happy as Larry. You can give me that all day. But as soon as you start getting into AGs, nah. I just don't.
Yeah, I took my one of my AEGs apart once, and I didn't realise that when you open the gearbox, apparently everything in there is spring loaded, like some sort of children's pop-up toy. It was just absolutely chaotic. Firstly, don't do it sitting on a table at your living room on a carpet. Like if you're gonna do any form of teching, do it on a proper tech mat in a nice clear space. Ideally, just on the floor. If you've got a kitchen floor that's got a good 3 meters either side of you in all directions, you can see anything that falls.
So when Mike does tech work, he looks like a murder room where he puts clear white sheets everywhere. And this gun just laying in the middle.
Honest to God, that would be perfect. Punish one. He's jumped on briefly.
If you've got time to text, you can bloody jump on, you cheeky sod.
Punish one teching. Does that mean adding scopes, etc.? I mean, yeah. Ultimately, it's just not something that I've really spent a lot of time doing, basically. But it is something that I would highly recommend you at least understand the mechanics of your rifle, so that if there is a basic problem, you can deal with it. So, for example, things like, I don't know if this is really teching or kind of just more general maintenance, but cleaning your inner barrel. You need to know how to do that. That's important. And it's something that you can do at home without necessarily taking the whole fucking thing apart. That's probably it. I can't think of anything.
Open it up, spray it full of grease, close it back up.
Just keep applying silicone, just silicone lube. Just keep putting that in there and it'll be fine.
Yeah. AGs, yeah.
Don't do that. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. AGs, I haven't got a hope in hell. I know that it's got a motor and a piston and some gears, but other than that, no, I haven't got a clue. Gas blowbacks, I can answer some questions, but I'm still learning. But I've taken 5 apart now, so I should be all right.
Yeah, just hasn't put any of them back together.
Yeah, you haven't seen I don't know what goes in what, but I've got to admit though, I'll tell you what, if you want something for ease of taking apart, get yourself an AK, gas blowback AK. It literally, you pop the top cover off and then you just go ding, done, ready. You can literally have it all there in front of you in seconds.
They're very similar to the real steel versions as well, aren't they? Which are effectively, usable by children, which is not necessarily the best of things, but
No, I wouldn't have gone down that route.
Is a thing. No, but it is like you
Yeah.
see like various war-torn countries which have kids running around with AKs. They must be vaguely proficient in using them because they're still running around with them. So, Marky Mark says Tech Mats hit up Billy at Tactical Doodles. So if you are not aware of who Billy is, we had him on the show. It's episode 175. So go and check that out. As well as it will contain all the links to his social media and everything like that. He does some absolute cracking stuff. So, right, next question. You are minutes into an expected 3-hour patrol and your pants are riding up. Would you rather have a front wedgie or a regular one?
I mean, if it's literally minutes into a patrol, I'm telling the patrol to stop and I'm taking those off.
Just don't even do it. Just midway through, just rip upwards.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm genuinely, if it's that quick, something's wrong, and no matter what happens, it's going to be a pain. They're coming off. I don't give a fuck.
I'm going to go front wedgie. I'm going to go front wedgie. I feel like a rear wedgie. Well, going back to the chafing issue, I feel like a rear wedgie for me would be a much more catastrophic thing after 3 hours than a front wedgie, whereas I can just keep pulling it down easier at the front.
I mean, I'd think I'd prefer rear.
Or I don't know, stretch a hole in them, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, what would be the worst thing you would do for a free MWS? I hadn't read this one. What would be the worst thing? What would be the worst thing you would do for a free MWS? Jesus.
I mean, I'm always game for a reach around. Yeah, I think that would probably be the worst. No money shots or anything like that, though. Christ. Mike looks shocked.
I don't know how to answer this question.
Oh, we've got a spammer.
No, ignore it, Andy. Ignore the spammer. Ignore the spammer. I genuinely don't know how to answer that, in all honesty.
I mean, you've got to think of it as a logical point of thing, right? If you were a street cop,
I mean, also obviously you ask the question, and obviously your mind immediately goes to right, but it's got to be something weirdly sexual or a kink or something like that. Because for example, you went straight to a reach around. I
mean, you've got to basically haul yourself out at that point. Yeah, I mean,
not drugs. I meant as in like just doing like 31 and a 30.
I mean, if you want me to decide on what's the worst thing that I would do for a free MWS, well, then that would be shake your hand. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but if you're choosing, yeah, I'd do heroin, maybe.
Free MWS and a great time.
Yeah. I don't know.
No. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as killing someone for an MWS. I feel that's a little low.
No, but I mean, you've got to look at it in like value, like a hit on someone would probably cost like a couple of mil, like according to the movies. But you can get a street hooker to give you a hand job.
I'd glue money to the pavement. That's always a bit funny at the same time. Defiance. It's not really free if it costs you so much dignity.
Yeah. I mean, I'd give a blind person a $5 and say it was a 50.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, isn't it? That's
right.
Sorry
what's
if you're blind.
Next? No, that's fine. I mean, I'm not. I don't know why I answered that. Right. We've read that one. Right. It's 3 a.m. Someone shouts "Stand 2" for the 7th time in the last 20 minutes. So we're back at what was it? The Defiant, the DEA one.
Oh, it was Ray.
This wasn't Defiant's fault. Just to clarify, this was some numpty players that were on stag duty. So, do you A, stay in bed, B, get up and go to cover your arc, C, get up, have a chat with the guy about when to use the stand 2 command, or D, make plans to stay in bed rather than relieving rather than relieving this stag later. Oh, right, okay, yeah. So just ignore him later, or E, twat him.
I mean, from experience, roll over and shoot the person that keeps calling stand to put them out of action and let them bleed out, so you at least get 15 minutes sleep.
Okay, so for me, I would probably do the get up and go to cover your arc. However, I would caveat this. So I know I'm always Captain Caveat on this front, but basically, to me, whenever we run events, we're a sort of relatively kind of regular player team. Whenever we run events, we generally have like a little internal rotor as well as the main event rotor. So, for example, say we've got a team that is on stag at any one time. What would I say? Say our team is on stag for say 2 to 3 hours. Within that 2 to 3 hours, we'll generally kind of split it out and we'll buddy up. So it might be, for example, you've got an hour and a half getting your head down or anything like that. If a player's particularly fucked for whatever reason, you work as a team to negotiate around that. We've had events where certain players have just come back from Mexico with belly rain. We've had to work around that. We've had people that obviously work nights or work, particularly long hours in the day or anything. So you work
lazy.
around that. Or just lazy, or just fucked as well. I mean, I usually fall into the latter category because I don't get enough sleep prior to going to MilSim events, and then I go to a MilSim event and just get to a certain point where I do just literally need a couple of hours sleep. So for the most part, I would generally get up and go and cover it if I knew that I was sort of effectively in that position, or if it was someone that I knew calling stand to. Other than that, I think you generally do have to have a bit of a chat with people as to what stand to means, because exactly that, a mouse farts, someone shouts stand to. Like, it is catastrophically frustrating when you've got in the middle of the night people that just don't really fucking understand what's going on, and rather than challenge people before working out that it's not a bad guy approaching you, it's just someone coming back from the loo. They just stand to, and they wake the entire fob up to then deal with that, and it's just unnecessary, basically. Throw it to you, Andy. Would you have the same opinion if you were in a proper, say we're in a proper fob at Longmoor? So you're in the bunkhouses at Longmoor.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be quite so worried about getting up to cover your arc on the basis that you're in a proper hard cover fortification, or versus you're out in the woods or something like that?
I mean, like we all know, Longmoor can get overrun. Like, we've all been to events where you're sitting in there and then all of a sudden there's enemy like literally at that gate ready to get in. So I think from where you are, I think I would probably take Longmoor a little bit more seriously, because I feel like the player base that goes to Longmoor takes it a little bit more seriously. Whereas in the woods, I'd want my bed and my sleeping area already set up. Where all I really have to do is just kind of roll over and grab my weapon, and I'm already covering my arc if I was in the woods.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I would position myself so my sleeping area and the area that I've got to hold is sort of either extremely close or in it pretty much in the same area, because that would give me my cover as well. Like woods, you have to do it slightly differently, don't you? Like the last thing, and it's less noise as well. If you're in the woodlands, you've got bracken and branches all round you. If someone shouts stand to, and you get ready to
fire event, note yourself, lightly contact the fob so Andy stands to, and then withdraw a mortar.
Yeah. Whereas in the woodlands, the last thing you want to do is grab your weapon and be trudging through all the undergrowth and everything, making a shitload of noise in the dark, and giving your position away. Whereas you could literally just roll over and hold your weapon, still stay in your sleeping bag in theory, couldn't you? And you're holding your position.
Well, that's effectively. I don't think I've ever played a woodland event where I've been in more than a section level camp. So we're probably talking maybe sort of 15, 16 guys at most. I don't think I've actually played a woodland event like that with anyone that was not a bloke, to be fair. Women, get out there and do more woodland MilSims. But yeah, so I think for me, the woodland stuff does make a bit of a difference because, again, if it's someone that I'm playing with regularly and they keep waking me up for no reason, then that's definitely a quiet word. No, they'll get a quiet word. I don't want to embarrass them, but they'll definitely get a quiet word about, when we're doing it, etc. When we're calling stand to. If it's a Longmoor event like that and you've already got a stag duty, unless someone starts screaming they're coming over the walls or they're inside the gate. If I'm not on duty to do anything, I'm having my rest period. You know what I mean? Like because again, that's that level of response. Ultimately, and I've not got a huge experience with the British Army because I've never served. But from my understanding, if there is a mortar attack on a fob or anything like that, the best place is going to be inside anyway. You don't want to be running around outside for no reason. It's going to cause more chaos than anything because you've got potentially more bodies in the way of can ultimately result in casualties. So unless someone is specifically calling you to come and support, then you need to be vaguely aware of it. And also don't if you're going to be going somewhere, don't completely get in your pajamas and stuff like that. Like you're at a MilSim event, you need to be able to get out your cot bed and pretty much get going straight away. Yeah. So
don't put your smoking jacket on and your slippers.
First thing you do when you get back from being out on patrol is rebomb your weapons and get everything nice and tidy. If something's broken or whatever, get it fixed. Make sure you're fight ready. Do a debrief. Be that with your command structure or your individual team because that's always advantageous anyway. And then get yourself sort of squared away. If you need to grab some kit, do that. If you need to grab some food, do that. Then potentially have a kip or whatever. Make sure that everyone's in your team sorted out, and that way you're always ready to go. If you need to get your head down, whack a couple plastic bags over your boots, and then just lay down on your cot. You can throw a whoopee or a sleeping bag over you. That's absolutely fine. You're going to be more than comfortable to have a nap. So yeah, don't if you need 5-10 minutes of being told, right, come on, there's an attack coming. You've got to get up. You are not prepared.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'll be there in a minute, Mum.
Yeah, dinner's ready.
Right, this is the last question that we had come in on NLG or NGL. Sorry. If you could have any team asset or toy for you for your NoFo lot to share, what would it be? And there is a £35,000 budget.
$35,000.
Yeah, to me. So I saw this question come in before the show. To me, if you've got 35 grand and you want to buy something that's effectively going to get the most use from a group of people, that is not going to be, for example, a couple pairs of night vision because that's going to limit how much engagement you get from a group. So if it was just the three of us, so Andy, Lance, and I, 35 grand, we could get some decent night vision between the three of us. But I'm talking like if we're out as a team with a bunch of other players, and we want to kind of like maximize how much we could all use from that. To me, it has to be a vehicle. It has to be a vehicle.
Yeah.
What vehicle? I don't know. I would imagine some sort of troop carrier of some sort. Something like a scimitar or something like that's not going to necessarily be the most cost effective per number of people that you could have in there. I quite like a jackal.
Yeah, myself. That's what I was thinking, a jackal, but I'm not sure how much they go for. Like, they're not obviously not for sale at the moment because they're still in very much active use, aren't they?
You might be able to get one. Let me have a look.
I mean, a Humvee, you can pick up a Humvee for about 18, like between 18 and 23. So that would give you enough money to get the armored turret on top with a airsoft minigun that's run through HPA that runs off of the engine, so you don't have to worry about the tank. I mean,
Yeah.
that fit. Is it sit five or six people in that easy?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd work.
The only thing I think with a Humvee is that fundamentally you've got one gunner. So if you could have some sort of Jackal type vehicle, I always like the idea of like you've got the driver and you've got your passenger gunner, you've got gunners potentially either side. It's almost like, you know, the flying fortress of the vehicle world, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
everyone in the plane has got a fucking gun. Like, they can all shoot in all directions. Defiant, you are not getting a Jackal or Coyote for 35k. I do get to play with one at Tank Fest this year. So you won't get a Jackal for 35k, but I'm pretty certain you could make one for 35k. You know, if you get a long wheelbase Land Rover, or, you know, something equivalent of, then you could definitely do something with that. And I know what Marky Mark's taking the doors off the Humvee. It's still, you are now just sitting there in a seat with your gun up like that. Whereas the whole premise of like the Jackal is obviously you're effectively in like a little fighting position from your seat. So I would argue that you could probably create a kind of civilian-esque version of a Jackal, almost like a gun truck type thing.
Yeah. I mean, the Humvee would be the most logical choice, I think.
Addy, I know what we're buying. I've just found it. But,
oh God!
Thanks a lot. I've got a Talon bomb disposal robot for 22 grand on at the moment.
I mean, that's something that I know that's something that me and Mike really want to do, and we need to get back into sorting out our EOD specialist sort of stuff.
Plus that.
I mean, could we put it through the books at work?
No, we haven't got that much in
there. But yeah, I think it'd have to be a vehicle if you're doing it as a team, and something that multiple people can use. It has to be a vehicle, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I load up tanks a lot just as a bit of a reference point. I mean, you've got on there, you know, Gun Beater's Wagon, WMIK Defender. I mean, that's, you know.
I mean, it's not showing on my screen.
I'm not suggesting that that's a scimitar. Can you not see that?
No, I can't see that.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, it must be my computer.
Tactica armored vehicle. Oh yeah, look. Oh, you can't see it.
I can see it in small version.
Do you want to make it a bit bigger?
No, I can. No, okay. It's just generally not showing.
Tactica armored vehicle. This is an armored vehicle built by Glover and Webb for the Metropolitan Police.
No one else can see it.
No one else see it either. This is awkward. Why is that not working?
There you go. Let me try and add it to the stage. There you go.
Can everyone see that?
It's all right, lads. It's all right, lads. I'll sort it out.
Yeah, he's got it sorted.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
This is the Tactica armored vehicle. Still got machine gun racks. All the glass is also armored and in good condition. So there's a price on that one, but it's good. It's good audio. This,
yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's gonna have to be a vehicle. So, now what I was looking at, that's the bomb disposal. Could you not see that?
No, they must see that.
There you go.
Because you can see it, can't you?
Yeah.
Can they not see it? Oh well. Well, you're missing
out.
No,
nobody can see it. This is great. Don't know why that's not working.
Okay.
Oh, you know why? I reckon. Oh, it's because we're in this stupid scenes mode. Right, hang on. Oh Jesus, what's going on now? Can everyone see that now?
Yeah, they've done an update on the system that we use, and it's
they've changed it recently. Carl just says shit show. Sorry, Carl.
Come on, you've listened to us enough now.
Genuinely can't see nothing. I'll leave that on the screen for the minute. No, they still can't see it. I don't know why you guys can't see it.
Oh well.
Right, well, we'll abandon that for the moment.
And now
we'll
we've got
look into
background.
that. Oh, Jesus, this is going. There we go. All right, I'll fix that. I don't know why that's not working.
Well.
It has worked before.
Well, that was a fun last minute of the show.
Yeah, Tanks a Lot. Go and check out Tanks a Lot. But I would pick some sort of vehicle. Yeah. James says.
I mean, an MRAP would be pretty cool.
So James has just sent us a picture on the WhatsApp chat for NoFo, which is basically a big black square and the two of us just sitting off to the corner. Sorry, everyone. Don't know why you can't see that. We'll come back to that another time. But yeah, Tanks a Lot. Go check it out.
Yeah, good little site that.
Right, that pretty much sums up our Q&A this week. I think the whole anonymous question thing actually worked quite well. Oh, there's another one that's just come in. You did your WAGs episode before when you asked them to guess what some of the MilSim phrases mean. Can you ask them what hard routine means? I mean, we'll have to do that after the show because we don't have a time machine. I can't get back there.
My missus would generally turn around and say, "What I've got planned for you Sunday?" Like, no, not like that. I wish gardening.
Cool. Right, on the show next week, we have a bit of a treat for everybody.
Ooh.
So we have a special guest. We are going to be joined. I just want to double check that this is the case. I'm pretty certain it is. Yep, we are going to be joined by Hades Airsoft.
Yes.
So Hades obviously had to postpone previously, so we are going to be joined next week by Hades Airsoft. Defiant says, then ask them what a soft compromise is.
Yeah.
I hate that phrase. Hades Airsoft are going to be with us next week, and then the week after we're going to be joined by Barrage Airsoft. So if you have any questions in the meantime for them, then please feel free to get in touch with us in advance. You can do so on our email at nofochat@hotmail.com. Our Instagram is at November_Foxtrot_NoFo, and the website is novemberfoxtrot.co.uk. As per last week, we are in the final stages now of kind of beta testing the whole concept of the MilSim index system. So I'm still waiting on Defiant Events to get back to me. I don't think they've properly come back to me yet. So, a little bit of a poke there. But if anyone's else interested in sort of contributing towards that and they want to get involved, then please feel free to do so. Just give me a little message. I'll send you a little copy of it. And if you've got any queries or questions about it, that's what we're doing at the moment. The whole concept is ultimately a way of determining it's not how good an event is, it's how hard routine the event is, without calling it a hard routine event. The idea is that, if you've got one that's right at the top of the scale, that's probably going to be one of the harder events that anyone's ever done. James says I don't work for you. No, but I want to have engagement, James.
We want your input, Sir James.
And then the lower down the score, it's just going to be potentially less of a challenging event. But that's not to say that it's a completely unchallenging event. So, for example, an Octo 8 game is not going to score the highest of that score or of that index because ultimately they stop the event overnight. That's not a bad thing. You can have absolute cracking 8 hours during the day. You stop overnight, and then some of the best social evenings I've had have been at an Octo 8 event. But then, it's just a way of kind of gauging how hardcore an event is. So we're hoping to kind of get that rolled out. It'll be on the website as well as a kind of a download thing as well. And hopefully the concept is that kind of people pick this up, and it's a way that new players can kind of gauge events and what they need. It'll help sort of more seasoned players kind of pick an event based on what they're feeling at the time, so that we don't end up with this situation where people basically go to the wrong event or on the wrong faction or something like that, and they just don't enjoy themselves. Because ultimately, we want people as a community to enjoy themselves.
Yes.
So that's the idea of that. So if you want to get in touch, or if you want to just talk to us for anything else, do so on the stuff below. You can also get in touch with us on our own individual Instagrams of @9voltairsoft for me, @callsign_quartermaster for Andy, or @the_punished_1_4
stuff below. the stuff below, Mike. That's
I already said it. You can get right. Email nofochat@hotmail.com or Instagram is @November_Foxtrot_NoFo. The website's novemberfoxtrot.co.uk.
Ooh. We're going to start timing it now.
I practice off stream. Right. On that note, I hope everyone has an absolutely cracking week.
Yes.
Do you want to have the closing words, Andy?
Yeah. Don't shoot marshals unless they're shooting at you.
Also, don't quote us.
No, you can quote that. You can quote that.
If you want to join us next week, we'll be back Wednesday, 8 o'clock with Hades.
Don't shoot marshals unless they're shooting at you.
That's fine. Say goodbye, Andy.
Bye, Andy. Say
See
goodbye,
you
Mike.
next week. Have a good one. Bye, Mike.
Bye. Ciao, Bella. Stay NoFo.
Ciao.
Ciao. I need a wee now.